All right, welcome back as we are going to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs win over the Jacksonville Jaguars, and KU beats Nevada in a rough game, and then we'll also talk about K-State losing on a 61-yard field goal, and more about the Kansas high school football teams. Let's get straight into it. The Kansas City Chiefs. So NFL Week 2 is here, and the Kansas City Chiefs win against the not the Lions, the Jacksonville Jaguars, 17-9. That gave Andy Reid his 270th win, which makes him top four coaches with wins, only behind George George Halas, Bill Belichick, and Don Shula. Also on Sunday, it was Pat Mahomes' birthday. Happy birthday to him as he turns 28 years old. Um, Defense played amazing that game, only allowing three field goals and no touchdown. Chris Jones was back. He did play that game and had himself a day with 1.5 sacks and brought a lot of pressure to Trevor Lawrence. What a great day! What a great day for him to, especially coming back after not coming to any of the training camps, not going into any of the preseason games. Just overall, he had a great game, and hopefully he'll show up more. And if he does, he might get a might get a payday, might get a payday. Offense had a rough day though. With a lot of turnovers and a bunch of penalties, especially on Jawan Taylor. Oh my gosh. There was one point that he got called for two straight holding calls. I think he also got a few penalties called for being false start. This is something the Kansas City Chiefs should have worked on, as a lot of people have pointed out about him in the Lions game, as he did some weird movement and should have been called a ton of false starts on him. So, but we'll figure it out from there. Hopefully, they'll figure it out. There were also some miscues as well in that game that they could have executed. Um, there was that one play where Mahomes threw it to the left tackle Donovan Smith. Definitely not an eligible receiver at that point of time. But overall, overall that game, I thought defense played amazing. And if they keep playing amazing, and then our offense can get it together, this team's gonna be unstoppable. I'm telling you, this team is the team to beat right now if the offense can start going. Um, but that's pretty much it. Even Andy Reid himself said that even though he's an offensive guy, obviously, the defense played amazing, and hopefully they'll have that going for them against next week against the Chicago Bears. But that's it on the Kansas City Chiefs. Moving on to KU football, as they had a late night game against Nevada. A very very late game for KU. They usually never play this late, 9:30 at night. Whew. KU did pull off the win there, 31-24. Very ugly performance by KU. This year, and I don't know if it had to be do with the fact that they played so late at night, and that was the first time they played that late before, or if it's just was an off game. I know last week they had a little bit of off game against Illinois, but most of that was due to like penalties and all that. KU did get off to a good start until close to the end of the first quarter, and that's when more mistakes were being made. But at the end of the towards the end of the game, running the ball actually finally worked for them, as Devin Neal had himself a day. He looked very good. He's probably one of the best running backs in the Big 12 right now. Probably one of the best, if not the best, in the Big 12 for running backs. KU's defense looked a lot slower than last week. I don't know if this was just because it was a late game and they just weren't as physical, but they did have a rough performance against Illinois last week. So um, overall, there's a lot that KU football needs to work on for next week, as they will go into face off against BYU, who are also 3-0. So this would be the first conference game of the season for KU. So we'll see how they do next week. I think they can beat BYU. I don't think BYU's that great of a team, but we'll see. We'll see. Moving on to K State, as they lose to Mizzou, 27-30 on a as Mizzou won that game off of a 61-yard field goal. Not only was it a 61-yard field goal, but they got a delay of game, the worst delay of game I've ever seen in college football history. I don't even know how that gets pulled off. They get a delay of game and then they still win it off the delay of game and win it on a 61-yard field goal. I mean, there was just a lot of missed opportunities from K-State, especially on the offense. Hardly ran the ball at all that game. The ball should have been ran a lot more. I don't know what Chris Kleiman was doing out there. Um, Especially after Will Howard was banged up in that game. Hopefully he'll be all right for next week. Right now he's questionable. Avery Johnson got a few plays. He actually looked pretty all right, but those few plays that he was out there, Will Howard was still out there, so it was more of a 10 on 11 because I don't know why Will Howard was still out there. I feel like Avery Johnson should have just stepped in, but who knows? Maybe there was something that Chris Kleiman had planned. So, but when Avery Johnson was out there, he did run the ball pretty good, I thought. Um, I think he might be playing a lot more next week, so definitely be looking out for that. Defense started off real bad, but then came together close to the end of the game. Just unfortunately, just didn't work out because obviously Mizzou won off of a 61-yard field goal. If Mizzou doesn't win off that 61-yard field goal, I think K-State defense holds for the in overtime, and K-State gets the win. But overall, this was just a bad game for K-State because this K-State team is definitely a top 3 team in the Big 12, 100%. And they can be, honestly, they can be probably the best team in the Big 12 right now. Just they just got a lot of stuff to work on. Um, Hopefully they'll work on that for next week. Next week they'll take on UFC, who are 3-0. Their starting quarterback is also injured though, so he'll probably be out for that game. So this might be a good bounce back game for K-State, especially since this is their first conference game as well. So as of Friday, September the 15th, we had 5 Kansas high school football games played for the United Kansas Conference. First up was the Bayshore Linwood Bobcats taking on the Turner Golden Bears. The Bears lost miserably there, 56 to nothing. Nothing more to say on that one. We got another close game for Shawnee Heights. Another against Seaman Vikings. Seaman Vikings did fall though to the Shawnee Heights Thunderbirds 30 to 33. Um, Lansing Lions get their first win of the season finally against the Leavenworth Pioneers, beating them 28-26. So hopefully the Lansing Lions can start picking up some wins here, as they're close to the bottom of the standings of this conference. The Washburn Rural Blues beat the Piper Pirates 51-15. Wasn't even close. Especially this next game, DeSoto Wildcats taking on Topeka West Chargers, and I'll tell you, Topeka West Chargers can't score on offense. It's not possible. They do. It's a miracle. It's a miracle for them, because they lost to the Wildcats 59-0. They didn't even get a pick six this time. No pick six this time for them. Terrible loss for the Topeka West Chargers. They're definitely the worst team in this conference. So hopefully they'll start thinking about the future. So um, that's everything on this week. I'm excited for next week. Hopefully the Kansas City Chiefs will bounce back even better than this week. Same thing for K State. I hope they bounce off this loss, and hopefully they stroll through against the UFC, and hopefully KU has a better game against BYU. Um, but overall, great games to all the football teams. And I will see you guys later. I hope you enjoyed the video. Definitely like and subscribe, and you all have an amazing day. See ya.